Thank you for all the love and support this past year. We reached our milestone of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which has me absolutely fired up. I'm also super pumped to be back in the office. First day back in the office after a long 2-week break back in Ohio and Florida, spending time with family. This year is going to be bigger and better than ever, so I'm looking forward to bringing you with me on the journey. We have a special video here today. I'm going to talk about my lessons from closing over $975,000 in revenue in 2021, my first year as an account executive. Also, stick around until the end and I'm going to talk about my 2022 New Year's resolutions. Let's go. I feel like so much happened this past year. It's hard for me to believe we are currently in 2022 right now as we speak. I entered this year with my biggest quota ever. I'm super pumped about my new title and promotion, but I'm also quite nervous because the numbers are getting bigger and bigger quarter over quarter. We're back at zero at the start of Q2. In my reflections of this past year, I wanted to share with you right now my top 2 takeaways that hopefully you'll find some value from. But first, if 2022 is going to be your biggest year ever, leave a like on this video now. I'd really appreciate it. Work to reach your potential, not your quota. This is one of the biggest realizations I had in 2021. It's thinking big. At my company, the benchmark of reps hitting their quota as account executives is, I think, 40 or 50%, and it's not nearly that mark. In my mind, if I don't hit my quota, I feel bad about myself, and I view each quarter as a new opportunity to prove myself, but I view each quarter as a new contract. If I don't hit, I feel like I don't deserve to be here. And in order to put myself in a position to consistently hit quota, it starts with thinking big. When reps are given a number, they think, okay, what can I do to get that? How can I manage risk? How can I just do what I did last year? The way I look at it is I look at my quota and I say, I'm gonna do way more than that. I set my start from the top so that even if I fall short, I'm still well above my quota. And it took me, it sounds so simple in theory, but not a lot of people do it. It starts with writing down your targets. Each morning I write down my targets. I write down, I have closed $600,000 in revenue in the first half of 2022. That's my personal goal, to close $600,000 in revenue the first half of 2022. That's far in excess of my quota, but the reason I said it is because I'm working to reach my potential, not my quota. And the final point of this is, early in my career, I was scared to strive to be my best. I feared if I put in all this work but don't actually reach my targets, what am I? I'm wasting my time. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. And I was also scared that I didn't want to be number one. I didn't want to walk into that team meeting and be number one. I now look at it as it's my duty, obligation, and responsibility to maximize my potential. And that means setting big targets. That means writing down my goals. And that means winning each and every day so that you can put yourself in a position to actually hit these audacious targets you're striving for. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. And this applies to people as well. Nobody is as good or as bad as you may think they are. And let me share a couple examples about this. This past year in 2021, as a ramping account executive, my very first year in the seat closing revenue, I generated $975,000 in revenue on a $350,000 number. Many salespeople are fueled by making money, ego, competition, and it would be easy for me to sit here right now and act like I'm the best. But to put this in perspective, I was the #1 rep in my office in the South Market, which has me pumped. I was roughly the number 11 rep in the corporate at Qualtrics out of 200 or so reps. And then put this in perspective, I was the number 154 rep in total of all of the reps at Qualtrics, of course comparing myself to enterprise reps. But you can start with saying, wow, I'm #1 in this small market, I'm the best. but then you look at the grand scheme in the hundreds, okay, I'm the worst. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. And then of course, something that really stresses me out is when I get customer complaints, when they act like the world is ending, when they get mad at me, when bad things happen, when I lose a deal, when I get hung up by a prospect, and it seems really bad at the moment. You gotta recognize and say, even kill that it's not that bad. Meanwhile, when you win that big deal, celebrate, be happy, but you cannot rest on your laurels and get complacent, because then everything else will fall apart. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. That's my desk over there with the lit up monitor. New Year's resolutions. To me, it's just another day. So many people think just because a single digit on the calendar shifts, their entire life is gonna change. In reality, it's not. You're gonna get excited, you're gonna think new year, fresh start, new opportunity, everything's gonna change. But in reality, if you haven't rewired the habits in your mind, nothing you want to have happen will stick over time. New Year's for me is a time to review what's going well, what's going poorly, and what do I want to happen long term. I think strategically, I think permanent, and I think what decisions can I make on a day-to-day basis that will compound and add up over time to manifest into my big, audacious, scary dreams that I have. A takeaway from this video you can apply to your life today is writing down your goals in journaling. This is something a lot of people maybe save for the end of a new year. I write down what are my goals, and I write down where I'm going. I write down what I like about my life. I write down what I don't like about my life. And it helps me go from what's happening to write it down on paper and to forget about it. I think something that's so important is processing. And the sooner you can process what you want to have happen, and the sooner you can process the things that you don't like that happened in your past, the sooner you'll be able to focus more on the present, on the actions that will help you get to your goals. What I wrote down in my journal was one work career goal, was one spiritual goal, was one health goal, and was one relationship goal. And something that I added in this year is my why. Really important to have a why, because if you don't know why you're doing anything, then you're never gonna stick with it. The classic example is saying, I wanna make $1 million a year. And if someone asks you why, you say, oh, well, it sounds cool. I'm virtue signaling, it's an arbitrary number. Think about your why. And my why is improve people's lives through the profession of software sales. To break that down, software sales completely changed the entire trajectory of my life. I didn't know what it was in college. I was misguided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I somehow stumbled into a sales development role at a fast growing technology company, and it's completely changed the arc of my life. And I get so many messages from you guys saying, I was doing blah, 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 and then I got into software sales, and now I'm making more money. Now I like myself more. Now I'm happier. And I think that being in the right vehicle career has the ability to transform so much about your life, as it did for mine. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe, comment for the algorithm, connect with me on LinkedIn. Talk to you in the next video. Happy 2022.